What's going on, everybody? So today I just want to do a quick video to show you my setup for my Xterra and how I've got the inside set up with my rods and lures and all that kind of stuff. And I'll probably add on to this my setup that I use for the actual kayak, and let's see how this goes. Alright, so here's the back of the Xterra. So I have most of my stuff for the kayak is in here all the time. I just leave it in here because I'm trying to fish at least once a week on the kayak, and then there's other times where I'll fish without the kayak. So I've got my seat in here. So this is just the Ozark Trail one that I bought, and it is like 15 bucks, and it's been great compared to the other thing I have. This also has, I mounted this, if you can kind of see this, I mounted the seat to another board, and then I've got some PVC. And you probably saw this in another video, but this is what goes into the scupper holes that are right where the seat is. I don't use the original seat that came with it. It just wasn't enough padding for me. So, and then under here, I've just got my crate. I don't always keep everything in the crate. I got a pair of boots in here that in case I need those if I'm bank fishing and, you know, leave work and decide to stop somewhere on the way home. My PFD, I keep some things in this. There's a couple of pockets that are nice. And of course I got, you know, just some stuff laying around that I should have put away that I didn't. I've got some of my video stuff here. This is something new. I can't remember what it's called, but this slides into, I'll try to put it up on, you know, on the actual video itself, but this slides and connects into the guides that I installed on the front side so that I can mount a camera there. I got my old faithful chatterbait right there too. Then these are some poles that I put together with some PVC that mounts in front of me, kind of in the middle. And I'll try to show this on another video at some point when I'm out in the water. And this is just a basic mount. These are basically like a motorcycle mount. And I use my camera a lot when I'm videoing, as I am now. And the camera mounts in there, and then I can flip the view either towards me or away from me. And this is just an adapter kind of thing that I put onto the top that I thought was going to work out to give me a little distance, and haven't quite figured that one out yet. Then I got my container in here that has, there's my pliers that go in the kayak. And so I have a little bag that I've had for a long time when I would creek fish and just walk the creeks. And it's a cool little bag. It's like a big fanny pack, basically, is what it is. And I've used this thing forever, and it's been great. So the little front part, you know, I got my pliers, my multi-tool is down in here. And then open up the big zipper compartment, and I can change out and put, you know, different types of containers in here depending on what I'm doing. Got my scissors in here somewhere from a braid. And then two smaller pockets that I'll usually have other stuff in depending on what I'm doing. Again, if I want to go super light, then I can just carry a bunch of these small little tackle containers with me, and I'm pretty much good to go. And so I use this a lot. Even sometimes when I fish on my friend's boat, I'll just take that. I don't need, like, you know, 100 lures when I'm going fishing for 3 or 4 hours. So this is another attachment for like a GoPro mount that you would strap like a chest mount. And I use that. I bought an attachment that is basically, hopefully you can see this, you can attach your phone to this. I don't always use a GoPro type camera. I use a fake GoPro most of the time, but I'll use my camera a lot, and this has been pretty cool for different situations. And as you can see in here, I've got a lot of my tackle is just laid out in here, and so I can take these out as I need them, put them in my, either in the large pocket on my fanny pack, or I can just take them and put one underneath the seat in the kayak, or if I'm fishing in a boat, then I can just take whatever I need and move them around. So I've just got, you know, a bunch of other lures kind of on the side. I haven't figured out where I'm going to put all those. I got my my worm bag, which has been pretty cool because I can get a lot of worms in this. See if I can do this with one hand. There we go, getting there. That's a really scary video probably for all y'all out there. So I got a lot of different worms, creature baits, that are in here that I just keep zipped up in there. And that's pretty much it. A couple other containers just with random type of lures and other things in there. And then in the back here, I keep my board for measurements, some, you know, bungees, mosquito spray, and a couple other just odds and ends for the truck itself. My cart is back here. You may not be able to see that, but it's down underneath here. And my oar is a 2-piece, which isn't great, but it's okay. I wouldn't recommend getting it. I bought the cheap one that they had at Academy. I think it was at Academy or Walmart, and it was the same brand as I can't remember the name of the brand now. Their new outdoor label, basically, and they're not very good. It doesn't stay together the way I like. But anyway, got my net, got a little pool noodle stuck to my net in case I drop it overboard. It'll float. And that's the basic setup in the back. And so I'm going to pause this for a second, and then I'm going to show you how I've set up my rods and reels. All right, so a while back I decided that I really wanted to have a way to transport the rods, and I didn't want to have to build some kind of big, you know, like PVC tubing thing to mount onto the outside of the Xterra, which I could do, but I just didn't want to. And I saw a couple things online, and I didn't like exactly the way they were done, and so I kind of modified some of those things that I saw online. So here's what I did. There was a Rapala or Rapala. We always called it Rapala when I was growing up, so I don't know if it's Rapala or what the official brand is, but I had basically a rod holder that you would mount to a wall, like a 2-piece. So one part would be on the bottom, so this would be on the bottom, and then there was another piece that would connect that had basically like little clips that the rod would snap into. You guys have seen those. So anyway, but I took the bottom part of this one and I drilled out the bases of just 4 of them, because I don't usually use more than 4 rods at a time. So I drilled these holes out to put the rods in. So basically, and then I put a black rubber bungee strap there, and as you can see in the front, I've also got half a pool noodle up there, and I'll show you that one in a second. But let me show you how these go in. Okay, so here's how this works. What I'll do is I'll take the rod and I'll slide it up over the bungee first. So I'll take it and I'll slide up over the bungee. It's harder than I thought it was going to be with one hand. And I have to kind of spin it sideways just to get the guides to go over it. But then once I get it to a certain point, I'll go past this, and then I'll set it in here just briefly, and then I'll turn it again to get the guide to come back, and it just drops right down in there. And so there's kind of your view from the side of how that fits in. Sets up on top the bungee, set them all in there. Let me show you from the other side. So here's how I got this set up. So once I've slid them all in, generally the float, the pool noodle basically, is not up against the ceiling. What I found was that when I didn't have the pool noodle attached, the rods kind of bounced around a little bit onto the ceiling, and it just rattled and bothered me. And so what I did was I just got this pool noodle, cut it in half, and then the pressure basically from the rods pushing up against it helped hold the pool noodle up against the ceiling, kind of the carpet, and it doesn't slide at all. And it also doesn't bang around and hit my light. So that's the basic setup. I mean, it's nothing fancy. It cost me almost nothing to put this together. So let me show you one other part in the back. So the way I attached this was, as you can see, I couldn't just attach the actual Rapala kind of rod base up to the Xterra, but there were already some, I don't know what these are called, like they're like a built-in kind of a strap or a support if you're mounting or not mounting something, but if you're basically trying to strap something down, that they've got these built already into the Xterra. And there was one here and there's one on the other side. So I just took and ripped a half of a wooden spindle, spray painted it black, and you might be able to see the spindle. Let me turn this light off and see if you can see it better this way. I haven't tried this with all the rods in there. Oh, here it is. That's good. Wrong way. There it is. So the way this works is I just attach this base to the spindle and had the spindle long enough to where I could just drill a hole through it, and then I just had to get new bolts because the bolts that were in there weren't long enough, and then I had it cut out enough to where it would fit around the light with kind of the middle part of the spindle, and just bolted it up in there. So it's worked great for me. I've gone all the way down to Pensacola with my rods in here, same this complete setup, and it's great the whole time. Now if you're like, you know, 6'2" or something, then that may get on your nerves if you're up in the front, and you just have to slide it to one side sometimes if you're a little taller. But it's been a perfect setup, and it was extremely inexpensive. So, you know, if any of y'all want to steal that idea, feel free. Won't hurt my feelings. But I love the little setup that I have, and it's real easy for me. I just leave these in all the time. Now some of you may comment and say, hey, don't leave this stuff in here, and that's cool. Let me know if you think I should or should not leave my rods in here all the time. Usually I only have 2 in here, and then I've got a 2-piece that I have connected that I leave in 2 pieces basically down here if I'm just going for some smaller stuff. It's more of a ultralight type of rod and reel combo, and then we'll I just move along. So hopefully this has been helpful to somebody and you've learned something from this. Like and subscribe if you like the video, and I'm going to keep putting some different types of videos out, and most of those will be related to fishing. So let's have some fun out there. Be safe.